was beat up. So I sat in my car for an hour, turned on the heater, plugged my phone in, charged it back up, and just tried going to sleep, but never could. So I just ended up relaxing for half hour, 45 minutes, maybe an hour, and just like well, better get moving. So I got out of my car, got back on the loop, the trail around Lake
Yeah,
Sacagawea down there, and as soon as I got
that's
moving,
awesome.
it's like, okay, we're moving now.
Like when you
But
make a decision that you're not going to quit, the mind pieces together what it has in the body, and it'll start to make something that'll resemble a run. It might not be very pretty, but unless you break your legs, the body can usually find a way to shuffle, stumble, run. And if you can't do that, you can always crawl like a baby.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Um, there's I've actually had a couple times where I'm on a run and it's like no matter how far into it, I'll be like, I'll just get this spurt of energy, and so I'll sprint for a little ways, and then I'll be like, oh man, I shouldn't have done that. Now I'm just like, hurting is killing me. I'll slow down to a walk for a little ways, and then I'll be like, well, dude, you don't need to sprint it, and I'll think of Super Sabrina, and I'll be like, just do the Super Sabrina shuffle, and you get your way there.
Yeah, it's funny. You can draw upon the universe. There's so many
Yeah,
areas of inspiration. David Goggins, he's a kind of a big personality. He has this concept of the cookie jar, where when people get in a bad situation, you forget how badass you are, and you forget all these things you've done in your life. And it gets to be rough like that, you can draw back to, oh, I did this, and I felt even worse than this, and I got through that. And there was that time, and I felt even, and you start eating those cookies, and that sometimes buys you 5 minutes. That's sometimes all it takes. If you
yeah,
can get yourself going for 5 minutes, that voice in your head takes on a new tone, and you're cruising.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like, but that visualization that helps immensely. It's like, from the beginning, I just envision myself. I see myself crossing that finish line, and from then on, it's like, okay, what do I have to do to get there?
Yeah. Hmm.
And most of the time, it's just keep stepping, keep
That's usually
moving.
what it is. Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like I have like a separate ultra running. I stopped drinking about 8 years ago, and a lot of my DNS were before that, and they were from like stomach related issues. I would sign up for these events, and I still partied a lot, and I would start throwing up in the middle of them a good portion of the time. And sometimes I'd finish, sometimes I wouldn't. It's kind of I fit the ultra running into that lifestyle, and I stopped the partying lifestyle. Definitely took on a whole new meaning where I started to like see it as a journey that had to be completed. Where prior to that, it was just kind of another good time. That did kind of take on that spiritual side after that. Where running kind of is the ultimate allegory for life. I mean, it's hard. You're going to want to quit, but if you keep going, you'll be rewarded.
definitely, definitely. Um, like, do you what do you have any? Is there any? Do you adhere to any set routine for your like pre-race hydration nutrition, during the race hydration nutrition?
Yeah. So, in terms of hydration, nutrition beforehand, I don't really alter what I eat to get ready for racing. I just try to eat really well. Like you, I try to eat a lot of mainly plant based. I'd say I'm about 90% plant based. I'm like a vegan that likes to have a steak about 3 times a year.
Yeah,
I try to eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, minimal amount of grain. I eat oatmeal and rice, and a lot of fats, a lot of nuts. Um, in terms of like special runner health food, the only things I really take are I take salmon oil capsules and I take turmeric. I've done that for years. I think the omega threes. We all have a ratio of omega 3 to omega 6 fatty acids in our bodies. The processed food that we eat drives the omega 6 up. Taking the salmon oil is just a good way to even out that ratio of inflammation to anti inflammation. turmeric, their instances of arthritis, that type of thing are way lower in India, and that's in all their food. That seems to help. So yeah, I just try to eat really healthy. As far as racing goes for ultra marathoning, I have really gotten away from running food, and I eat real food now. And it's funny, I tend to eat more meat when I'm running than when I'm not running. That caloric, during Moab, I think I counted, I had about 8 hot dogs, 6 hamburgers, and probably about 3 pounds of bacon. The more I get into this, when I look at a piece of bread when I'm out there all day, I see 100 calories that might make me have to go to the bathroom, and 100 calories is nothing. It's quickly processed high glycogen. So I'm finding myself going to the fat, the burgers, the nuts, and things like that during the race. I haven't for a long time drinking anything other than water when I run. If it's extremely hot out, like it was in parts of Moab, I'll take some type of salt capsule, Thermalites or Salt Stick. They all seem to be more or less the same for me. I don't have any brand loyalty with regards to one new product I've seen on the shelf at Fleet Feet, which I'm a big fan of, is trail butter. That's kind of, I think people are more and more going away from those goos, those 100-calorie simple carbohydrate packets that are, it's straight up sugar. It's not good for you. And the last official 100-miler I finished in 2014, I ate 60 of them. That was like $250 worth of sugar I ate to get through this race and had a stomach ache for 2 days after. And so, yeah, more and more, I think a lot of athletes, unless the people trying to win the race, running extremely fast, a lot of those guys are still functioning on straight sugar. But more and more people just trying to finish the race are just eating real food out there. So less and less, yeah, just kind of natural foods for the most part.
Right on.
And I guess the tweak I would make, like I wasn't eating the oatmeal and the rice and beans too much out there. That stuff's fiber. It's going to make you have to go to the bathroom. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's an ongoing experiment too. It's a total ongoing experiment.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like sort of tweak it, find out what works well and what doesn't. And, yeah.
And wait till it doesn't work sometime and then tweak it again.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes stuff quits working well for you and you got to change it. But yeah, it's like that's one thing I've noticed with especially distance running is that got to watch how much I eat and what I'm eating, or what I'm drinking, how much I'm drinking, more like it, so that I don't spend the majority, so that I don't spend so much time on that race looking for an outhouse or a tree,
Absolutely. And a lot of that's from the experience and the repetitions. I try to stay in a semi-meditative state now, and my body really tells me what it wants. We had this thing, and I think it was a lot of had to do with the marketing done by these companies. There's a book called Waterlog. It talked about how Gatorade brainwashed this generation of scientists, and they got us with this attitude that we have to drink before we're thirsty. I don't believe in that at all. Nobody has ever died during any kind of running race in America from dehydration. Never. Hundreds of people have died from water intoxication since this whole Gatorade drink before you're thirsty. So I really try to, and the more in tune with your body you get, the less sugar you consume on a daily basis, the better your sleep is. Your body's not going to lie to you. I don't need to drink a bunch of water because I might get dehydrated in the future. I kind of get there, do my thing. Oh, I'm thirsty. Okay, drink a little water. Oh, I seem to be getting a little hungry. Nibble a little food. People have run forever. That this industry created to sell us stuff, I think it's probably done more harm than good in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I've had a few different people tell me that in the middle of races and at the end of races, Shane, you ought to be drinking a lot more water, and you've only show me your water bottle. I pull it out, and I'm only down like that much, and the water bottle's like this, and they're like, you should be drinking a lot more water than that. And I don't know.
Although there's indicators like if you're peeing, if you should pee every 2 hours, that's a good indicator you're drinking enough. If you're cramping, you might want to drink. These are all clues you kind of assimilate over the years where You don't drink just because some aid station volunteer is telling you to drink. That's maybe never even run in their life.
Yeah. No. No. There was one time at the Pack Rim 24-hour run where I actually two times there where I did have physical signs that I was actually totally dehydrated and about to die. But so if I went any longer, I may have. So I made sure to stop running and take a little break and get some hydration. But other than that, it's like
The only time I've ever been dehydrated really seriously was when I was like puking all day, which was
yeah,
usually related to my lifestyle at the time.
yeah,
Since I stopped drinking, if I go run a hard road, if I go do a 3:15 road marathon and work really hard, I'll be dehydrated at the end, but that's as you should be. The body is designed to get dehydrated in times of extreme effort. Eliud Kipchoge is finishing his marathon dehydrated. He most certainly is. If he didn't finish it dehydrated, he'd probably be running in like 2:50. He'd run it, and 45 minutes slower than he is if he was finishing it hydrated. So
yeah,
sometimes you put forth a good effort, you're going to dehydrate yourself, and then when you're done, go rehydrate. It's fun.
yep, yeah. It's like you put forth more effort, put forth all that effort to get a 2-hour marathon, or just for us regular people, just say a faster time. You know,
Yeah.
you put forth that 150%, 200% effort as you're used to, then you're going to
You're
get
going to wring the rag out a bit.
yeah, then you're going to burn up all that fuel, the hydration and nutrition you do have in your body, and you're going to need more. But yeah, it's like running running races and drinking water and eating a bunch during the race at the aid stations. I've ended or been halfway done. I'm just my gut's hurting and I'm
Yes.
ready to stop right there because I've been eating and drinking so much, as was suggested.
Yeah. I've always liked your style. You're pretty minimal. You get like a little tiny bar or something, eat that and a coffee, and you're good to go for a while.
Yeah,
It's a good feeling too to feel what it's like to be hungry. I think so few people never feel what it's like to actually let themselves get hungry. The whole like 3 meal a day thing. It's like if you're an adult, unless you're like on an NFL team or playing, for the Lakers, you don't need to eat 3 meals a day. It's like maybe one and a half is good.
yeah, yeah. It's like anymore. I've got it to where I just eat like I sort of snack most of the time. I just eat like a banana, maybe two bananas, and a cup or two of granola in the morning,
Yeah.
and it's like that's my breakfast, and then for lunch, well, pretty much every day for lunch at work, I have since I work at Trapper Sushi, I have grilled
Yeah.
salmon and grilled vegetables, but you know, it's like
Which
other
is
than
super
that,
low calorie. Yeah.
yeah. But
That's awesome.
I'm getting my omega 3s there. There's my salmon oil, 8 ounces of
Yep.
salmon.
That's fantastic. Yeah. I love salmon. When I moved to Washington from San Diego about 4 years ago, and I ate so much salmon the first year or so I moved here. I kind of got a little burned out on the taste, honestly. And then I started eating fully plant-based for a little while, but I wanted to keep up with the salmon oil because I do really believe that salmon is probably, if you look at all the things put on this earth from God, Buddha, whatever you want to call them, to me, it's like those salmon swimming up the river are gifts sent from God to eat. They're gonna die pretty soon. I see those things swimming up the river there. They're just like saying, "Eat me." And I'm not into factory farm, and I feel bad when I eat a steak. I feel terrible seeing those little chickens in the coop and all that.